Welcome to the 341st episode of the Videogames podcast, where we talk about any game at all, including new stuff, old stuff, and anything in between. If we are playing it, we'll be talking about it. Today we are recording on June 19th, 2023. My name is Brad Galloway. I'm the editor of GameCritics.com, and I'm also 50% of this here show. With me is the man who's right alongside me celebrating Juneteenth, Carlos Rodella.
I'm here on a holiday, and we're doing work.
That's right. We are both working on a holiday. Amazing. I guess you can't be more American than that, though, right?
That is true. But also, this podcast, I don't consider it work.
It's fun. It's fun. It's good fun. But let's talk about Juneteenth for a minute, Carlos, just as a quick PSA, because I'm sure there's lots of people out there who are not very familiar with it, because we've only started celebrating it like the last 2 years in a federal way. It's been celebrated in America for a long time. But just a quick blurb here. So Juneteenth, for everybody listening, is short for June 19th. And this marks the day when federal troops arrived in Galveston, Texas in 1865 to take control of the state to make sure that all enslaved people were freed. The troops' arrival came a full 2.5 years after the signing of the Emancipation Proclamation, which is, Jesus, that blows my mind. But Juneteenth honors the end of slavery in the United States and is considered the longest-running African-American holiday. On June 17th, 2021, just 2 years ago, it finally officially became a federal holiday. So I'm guessing a lot of people are still pretty new to Juneteenth. If you were not an African-American person, I know that I didn't know a lot about it until just a couple years ago. So I had some learning to do. I'm sure a lot of people got some learning to do. But, congratulations to America for finally recognizing such an important holiday.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many of these holidays that, are around minorities and struggles of Americans, but of different ethnicities in this country that don't really get the recognition they should. Yeah. So it's small steps, you know what I mean? But we'll take it.
We'll take it, and we're going to keep making steps. So anyway, happy Juneteenth to everybody out there, and happy Juneteenth to us, because that's exactly when we're recording. And I say, let's get a podcast off and running. What do you say, Carlos?
No, let's not.
Let's not.
Because every time you ask me a question, what am I supposed to say? No?
I don't know. It might be weird if you said no, and then we'd have like this weird discussion, and I don't know, too much behind the curtain.
I don't want to do the podcast. You asked me. I gave you a solid answer.
I guess I shouldn't have asked.
No.
Yikes.
So we're not doing it. So this is the end of the show. I'll play cue the music.
Thanks everybody for coming.
Thanks for coming. What's your spiel at the end? Do it.
I don't know. No, we're wasting time. Let's get a real podcast off. I'll do the spiel at the end. We'll get to it.
Let's get
Folks, we're being silly. Thanks for bearing with us. Before we get into the main section of the show, I got some good things to talk about today. Before we do that, listeners know that Carlos and I share a virtual living space divided down the middle with a strip of duct tape. That's right. His side, my side. Things are a mess, and we're going to tidy up. That's right. It is housekeeping. Carlos, what is on your side of the room this week, my friend?
Well, last week there was a bunch of stuff in here. I don't know. I think movers came in and cleaned. Because I don't see much stuff.
Not much, huh?
Yeah, right. Just a couple bags, actually, which is weird.
No boxes, just bags.
No, it's just like these plastic bags. One of them smells. So this one
Gross.
that doesn't smell is Dragon's Dogma 2.
Yeah.
We already knew that we're going to love it.
Yeah, we talked about it a little while ago. We are going to love it. We love this game.
You and I are big fans of the original.
Big fans.
They did there's a bunch of like other, directs and like small presentations that came out even after our last podcast.
Oh, during the fake E3 week?
Yeah, so many of them. And Ubisoft had like a fail. I think we talked about it, or maybe not, but like their audio was off.
Oh, yeah, you mentioned it was Ubi shit or something.
Yeah. But anyways, a bunch of them. And then Dragon's Dogma, for the part of the Capcom one, I believe, right?
Yes, Capcom.
They talked a little bit more in depth about the game. And yeah, I just am so excited how they're going to mess around with pawns again. Pawns are the AI-controlled, characters you can have in that game, as well as physics. And I wrote this down because this is everything that I want in a game, which is it's an RPG, but it lets you play it like you want to. You hear that all the time in the marketing. But if you can actually pull it off with, different decision trees and physics, then each encounter does become unique and different. And so they really focused on, there's a bridge and you got to get to the other side of the bridge and do something in a monster. But you could just take out the bridge and then now the monster can't get to you or something. It's gotcha. Yeah. They're just playing around with different ways you can, do scenarios. And if they do that, and they've been pretty good about, adding different takes to RPGs, then I'm just doubly excited.
I mean, that sounds great, and I am all for it. I can't be more on board for a game. I know that Dragon's Dogma, when it came out, the first one, pretty experimental. They weren't doing like the physics stuff like you described, but they were doing a lot of really interesting stuff. They were doing stuff with quest structure. They were doing stuff with the pawns, which is still a pretty brilliant idea that nobody else has really touched. And just like having the open worldness of it, like a night and day cycle that kind of implemented in a different way than normal. It was just great. And also they were kind of combining some Monster Hunter stuff in there with some just general like monster fighting. So like, instead of just like regular battles, you could also climb the monster, you could ride the monster. That was pretty exciting shit. So if they keep up with that spirit of experimentation, I mean, I'm already in no matter what, but I'm like double in. I'm just really looking forward to this one. And especially so since we never thought we were going to get it. I never thought we were really going to get this, and I'm so thrilled.
Right. Yeah. And speaking of like getting onto the monsters, aka Monster World or Monster Hunter, etc., is that they showed that too in the video where like, because the monster has physics and you can like fall over if you're on the top of him. Right.
Oh, like weigh him over, like
weigh him over.
Top heavy. Oh wow!
And I was like,
cool.
wow, there you go. Those are the kind of things that I want for you to try. So
that's awesome. That sounds so awesome. I'm gonna play it right now. Please call them.
I know. Okay, I'll call him after. Right. I really don't have anything else. There's just that bag I brought, and that's it.
Yeah, that's fine. Today's kind of a light week. It's been super, super busy for me. I just got a couple quick things. We'll move on here. Number one, just want to give a quick Sekiro update. Still punishing myself on the reg with that game. Made it to the final level. I'm in the final area. And I did some side quest stuff yesterday. I wanted to make sure I'm never going to play this game again, so I wanted to get the best ending. And to get the best ending, you got to jump through a lot of really well-hidden hoops. And it's like a lot of steps that like I don't think anybody would ever figure out unless you had like an FAQ or something. So I went through all that stuff. I found a loop where I needed to farm because I needed to get this one specific thing for an upgrade that I wanted to get before they fought the end boss. And I'm kind of just doing cleanup before I do the final push towards the end. So, again, the biggest part of this game for me was the final boss, because that final boss is just like hard beyond belief. But I'm really trying to set myself up for success, and I'm within spitting distance. So I don't know if I'll have it done by the time we talk next week, but maybe it's possible. So we'll see. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
Well, good luck. I would never do that. I will never do what you're doing.
Oh, man. I just need to get some peace, man. I need that emotional stability. I need that, I go to bed at night and all I think of is like, Sekiro, you didn't finish Sekiro. And oh, God, nightmares, dude.
Dude, if I didn't finish Elden Ring, I would feel the same way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I get it.
Got under my skin. Anyway, okay. The only other thing I've got is just a heads up. This is new information to me. This may not be new information to anybody else, but I love Blasphemous, right? We talked about that game many times on the show. The 2D Souls-like, which actually has a great parry that you can do every single time because they're very generous with the window, and it really works well. The art style is fantastic. It's kind of a Spanish Catholic horror 2D Souls-like nightmare game. It's great. I love it. It's fantastic. I didn't realize this, but they have been doing free updates ever since they dropped. I played it like the day it dropped, right? So like I finished it like a week afterwards. But they've put out 3 pretty significant free DLCs, and the reason I mention this is because Konstantin Koteski, one of the writers for us at Game Critics, he wanted to do a second opinion on the game. We do that sometimes when somebody disagrees or when someone's got something else to add to a review. And I'm like, yeah, but why do you care? And he's like, oh, well, didn't you know? The 3 DLCs have added whole new areas, whole new bosses, brand new NPCs that weren't there before, and they actually rewrote the entire ending. Like the whole end game is totally different. And I'm like, whoa, shit, what? So I hopped on YouTube, and he was right. I was like, oh my God, there's all these characters that weren't there before. There's all these story bits that weren't there before. The final boss, totally different. Final ending, 100% different. And that game had a shit ending. Like, as much as I love that game, when it dropped, it had a garbage ending. And I was like, oh man, that is really significant and important and cool, and it kind of makes me want to play it again. But I watched the YouTube, so I'm like, okay, that's good. But if you haven't played Blasphemous, the number one, now is the perfect time to play it because you're going to get the complete version. You're going to get a better version than we got at release, which is kind of goes along with what I always say. Like the best time to play something is at least 6 months, if not longer, afterwards. But also, they say that the new ending is leading right into Blasphemous 2, which is coming out in August or September of this year.
Oh, wow.
Which I'm very excited about. So,
Yeah.
so they went back, they tweaked the first game. Huge changes, major changes, story and gameplay. And they're going to ramp up for number 2, which I've seen some video of, which looks fantastic. So,
cool.
Heads up, if you're not on the Blasphemous train, this is a great time to get in. Any Souls-like fans, any 2D, semi-Metroidvania fans. This is, for me, this is up there with, like, Hollow Knight and Metroid and like all like the best 2D like action games. Like Blasphemous is like at the top. It's definitely at the top.
And you know what? Because we review them on the show all the time. There's so many of these, and for you to get it right, is a big deal because we've reviewed a lot of them that are not good.
Dude, we've reviewed so many that are not good. But like this is right alongside. I mean, like Grime. This one, like you got like if you want to play like top 5, this is easily top 5 of the entire genre. So like if you haven't played this one, get on it.
Now's your chance.
Now's your chance. All right, that's all I got. And I'm ready to get on the main portion of the show if you are ready, sir.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, well, let's kick this off with a look at Homebody. We talked about this briefly last week. This is, I believe, kind of a retro-flavored throwback survival horror-ish sort of thing coming from Game Grumps, which is somebody that you knew, and I've heard of them, but I don't really know anything about them. But they're like, what, YouTube people who had enough money to make a game? Is that about right?
I guess. I don't know about that last part, but yeah, they're on YouTube. Huge on YouTube. And, a bunch of YouTubers and content creators are getting into game development and publishing.
That's the thing. That's the hotness right now.
So that's, they're throwing their hat in the ring. And I think it's good. I always want, like, new talent and new perspective, right? Especially people who, like, make YouTube videos every single day about games or about, content and stuff and entertainment. They have different perspectives, so it's cool. We talked about it a little bit last week. Was that last week? Yeah.
You had just scratched the surface. You were kind of busy, so you didn't have time to, like, fully deep dive in, and so we're circling back this week. So, yeah, I am very curious, especially because I don't know about you, but just to pause for a second, just to sit on this for a minute, I think it's kind of a high stakes thing, right? Where if you're, I don't know anything about Game Grumps, but like if you're a YouTuber talking about games or you're a reviewer talking about games, it's like a movie critic where you think you know a lot about movies, and you do from like one perspective, right? But you may not make them, or you may not. It's different once you're doing it, right? And so I think a lot is on the line when you are someone who criticizes games a lot, but then when you have to make one, like if it's not amazing, that's kind of like a little bit of pie in the face, right?
Yeah.
Don't you think?
Yeah. Well, also, a lot of it's publishing, right? So it's not the same totally.
True.
Even like Danny O'Dwyer, who I, talked to on Twitter and stuff like that, they're working on that car game.
Oh, yeah, you
physics
mentioned
and
that.
Stuff.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they're publishing. I'm not sure. I should double check if they're jumping into the development ring at all, too. But I believe this one as well. If you could just look it up for me, I'm pretty sure Game Grumps is publishing.
Okay.
I think they have, they're working with other people who are making it as well. But either way, obviously they're going to have some say in it. That's what publishers do, not just put out stuff. And so what is this game? It's, like you said, it's a throwback PS1 era style. 10 controls, kind of like fixed camera perspective horror game. But, when I say horror, there's an asterisk. It's really about a girl who goes to a party, doesn't really want to be there, dealing with, her own kind of emotional issues and, seeing friends she hasn't seen for a while. So there's kind of like that mental aspect to the game.
Yeah.
Right. And like personality clashes and things like that. So it's more about like those little stories as well as the idea that there's a killer. No, spoiler, it's in the trailer and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like you're locked in a house and, got to try to figure out, who this person is and what's going on and how to escape and not die. So that's
I got your info. If you want to hold it for a second, I found your info.
Okay.
Number one, Game Grumps needs to update their fucking website because it's fucking way out of date. They don't even have this game anywhere listed on their website, which is weird. But I did look it up on Steam. So it's developed by Game Grumps and it is published by Rogue Games.
Oh,
so they are the people, they made this game.
There you go. That's a good distinction.
There you go.
Because I believe there's a couple other, content creators who are just publishing games. So there's a difference.
Yes, very true.
Okay, well, so this will be interesting on what I have to say about this. Because last time I jumped in, and like I said before, the setup is you're a girl going to a party. You really kind of don't want to go. You have anxiety. I was kind of relating to some of the stuff
Yeah.
early on.
And again, this is like third person kind of Resident Evil throwback, fixed camera sort of thing.
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
But again, with like certain scenes that are just played out, right? It's not always you controlling it. Sometimes you're just watching these cutscenes.
Okay.
And so when you finally get there, the idea is you walk around and talk to everybody. And this is the part that I am allergic to, which everybody knows in the show. If it's a puzzle adventure game and I got to like talk to a lot of people and click a lot of things, I just freak out, especially if there's like puzzles, like lots of them, which is funny because that's how I get anxiety. I get anxiety from being at a party that I don't want to be at, but also puzzles. And a lot of like, tons of dialogue in the beginning. So I kind of noped out because I was, not feeling it.
Slow start. Sounds like a very slow start.
It's a very slow start. It's a very slow start in the fact that it's such a cool setup, and I like a lot of the cutscenes in the beginning. I actually like the throwback art and PS1 graphics, but it really does throw you into like, hey, talk to everybody. Go check out all the puzzles that are already available. Like you could see them all in the room. There's the power cord. You're going to have to do something with that later. Go check out the security code. Oh, you can't get in there now. So it's all those tropes are just like there. And you're kind of like, for someone like, me who doesn't like that, I kind of freak out. Now, if you like that, you're probably just like all in, you're like, oh, there's all the puzzles, So, okay, so I gave it a harder shake in the fact that I did things my own way, and I wanted to see if the game would let me. What I mean by that is there's little areas where you can hide, which, of course, in these kind of games is where you do so you don't get killed by whoever's trying to stalk you. So what I did is I got tired of talking to everybody, and I got tired of looking at puzzles.
This sounds like a real party to me. I've been there, yes.
Right. And I didn't want to do anything anymore, so I went upstairs to a bedroom, and
Wait, we need to focus on that for a second. That right there, that is a back-of-the-box motherfucking quote. I didn't want to do anything in this game anymore.
But it wasn't, hold on. It's also like I was role-playing. I didn't want to, as the character, as the girl, I didn't want to be a part of this party anymore. Like I didn't like what I was hearing and stuff.
Sure.
By the way, I forgot to mention this last time. There was like an imaginary person that I was talking to downstairs.
Because you're an introvert?
No, I don't know. They didn't explain it, and I didn't get far enough. But I was like talking to somebody, and someone was like, "Who are you talking to?" So that was kind of creepy.
That's weird.
And then I went upstairs, and I was like, "Okay, fuck this party. I'm going upstairs, and I'm just gonna hide in the closet, and I'm not gonna do anything." And now this game has a clock. So
like
I was
a real-time clock?
A real-time clock. So I was like, okay, I can just stay in the closet. Wouldn't it be amazing if the game just like gave me another ending?
Like the whole game like just passes you by while you're in the closet.
Yeah,
that would be pretty brilliant, yeah.
Well, okay, so that didn't fully happen, but it almost did. So what I did is I went in the closet and I put down the controller and I did other stuff on my computer.
You went to go make a sandwich.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then after finished eating, I checked on my PlayStation, and the little clock had went to 12 a.m. and then it was just blinking, meaning that like something was happening and I couldn't like just finish the game that way.
Oh, okay.
So I had to leave the closet, But I did spend like, I don't know, many hours in that closet. And you saw like the lights go off and stuff, and people like, had moved on.
When you came out of the closet, were there like dead bodies and stuff?
Well,
like was the story like
here we go.
Okay.
This is part of my review.
All right.
Because this is how Carlos played it.
Okay.
So I come out of the closet and there's a dead body, and I investigate the body and I go around the corner and there's the killer and I die. So what's interesting, and this is the positive. Here's the positive.
All right.
That this game wants you to do that. They want you to die, right? It's that Groundhog Day kind of vibe.
Oh, so you're doing the day over and over.
You're doing the day over. And here's the other positive that I can say. I was just expecting to restart and then have to do some puzzle that I didn't want to do. Instead, it gave me a cutscene, and it was very good. It was like a Twilight Zone episode.
Okay.
And it was short, but it was her at the gas station before she went to the party, and she like saw some strange guy, and he was like talking to her about emotions and stuff and the past. And I was like, oh, that's cool. That's like giving me more information to take with me back to the party. Mm-hmm. That's really super smart. And then I died again, because I kept doing this thing where I hide and then come back out. And the killer's always there, by the way, in Carlos's playthrough. If you go hide for hours,
still there, yeah.
There's people dead, and there's the killer. And so I couldn't outrun it the second time. And then it gave me another cutscene. So
with more information?
Yeah, but like totally different, like about it's just a totally other. I don't.
You know what this
spoil it.
reminds me of? I don't know if we talked about this, but have you seen the movie Happy Death Day? Have you seen that?
Yeah, I loved
Yeah,
it.
what you're saying totally reminds me of that, where it's like the same thing. This lady gets killed by a killer, but every time she dies, she comes back, and they don't quite explain why, but she comes back, and every time she comes back, she learns something new. Like she does something different, and she learns about where somebody was, or what happened, or what led to this, and then by the 37th time that she's going to get killed, she has the whole thing figured out so she can escape death.
Yes.
Is that kind of what they're going for here?
It really feels like that. Although
Okay.
more old school and more like, I always bring up Maniac Mansion, but like definitely kind of like you're getting to know your friends, trying to figure out the situation on a relationship level too, right? So it's
Gotcha,
not just
gotcha.
like, how do I just survive? Happy Death Day, by the way, is awesome.
That's a great movie.
Underrated. And there's a second one coming out or already out, I think.
Second one's already out. Second one is also very good.
Wait, maybe I saw it then.
Yeah, I love both of those. Like those movies seem like they're going to be such like cheap schlock from the cover art and from the description, but when you watch them, they are so good.
They're so good.
And honestly, this sounds weird. Those were great family films. We watched them with my kid, and there were so many life lessons in those movies that were like good, and it kind of ends on a positive note. And everything.
It does. Yeah.
They're great. I love those movies. So good.
Well, so that I guess here's the box quote. If you like Happy Death Day, check out Homebody.
Okay, well that's a pretty good box quote then.
There you go. You can use that one, by the way,
I'm
because
gonna use
that's
that.
totally true. That's how it feels. The only problem is, and this is an asterisk Carlos problem,
Okay.
is I don't want to do the puzzles, and I know they want me to still.
And you have to.
You have to. There's like so many of them, and so I'm just allergic to that part of the game. Now, if it was just coming back over and over again and then figuring something out, like mentally, like I figured out who I need to talk to, and then if I talk to the one person, we just escape. Like
Right.
that'd be cool, and that still might be the case, right? Like I will give it more chances and keep dying a bunch of times and see if they let me not do the puzzles. Mm-hmm. And by the way, devs, if you're listening, if you could have that be an option, that would be amazing for people like me, because there's a lot of people like me that don't like puzzles. If you did it where like you die over and over again, but you find a different way out of the house or something.
Let me ask you then. So just for my own mental, because I have not played this game at all. All I know about this game is what you've told me and from like the trailer that I watched or whatever. So like when you're going through the puzzles, I mean, are we talking about Resident Evil chess piece shaped like like a hand, and there's a crest, a coat of arms and stuff? Like, oh, this is it like super esoteric? Because it seems like what you're describing in my head is more about talking to people and finding out sequence of events, which is kind of more narrative based. So like, what are you getting from these puzzles? Is it like locked doors? Are you getting some kind of, you need to get the key to the garage, and in order to get the key, you got to solve the chess puzzle? Or like, how does it function?
This is such again, an asterisk Carlos issue. I really can't explain it to you. Hopefully someone listening has the same feeling. But if it's a lot of like going through narrative and going through to find out what I'm supposed to do next, puzzle wise, I just don't want to do it. Like I freak out. Like I get anxious. But to answer your question, there's like a safe, there's like a secret door you have to have a code for. It's not horse like keys like in Resident Evil. And stuff
Okay,
like
so not that goofy.
But it's like, it's very like complex things. There's like a bunch of squares with buttons, and there's no numbers on it at all. It's just like a sequence you have to find.
Gotcha.
And so they're all things I have to find within it. And even the power thing, to turn the power back on, it's like a cord going to another room. But then I went to that room and it was this thing I couldn't do. So I was like, I know I can find it probably, but it's going to take a while and I just don't want to.
Are there clues, or are you just like blind searching the whole house, or how does that work?
It's hard for me to say this like the fourth time. I don't want to do it. I don't care. If there is, it makes me uncomfortable. I'm telling you the truth.
Gotcha. Okay.
Like as my character, I want to be able to just do a couple things and then move on. I don't know. I don't want to do too many things. But short answer is, if people like puzzles, it's probably fine. I can't deal with it. But I'm going to try it again to see if I can dialogue option myself, an answer. And then lastly, like I said, I think it's pretty cool. I like the graphics, and I like the style of dying and coming back and getting new information. That's like really smart.
Well, you've named off a bunch of different elements here, and it sounds like, I mean, I love Happy Death Day, and I think probably I don't have as big an issue with puzzles. I don't love them. I mean, I don't love puzzles, but I think probably I don't mind them as much as you do. So for people listening, like if you had to give this game a score, like what do you feel like, where would you put this game?
Yeah, okay. It's almost like there's two scores. There's Carlos's anxiety score.
Okay. What is that then? How many?
So Carlos's anxiety version score is like 5 or 6 probably. Because
Okay.
I don't want to go back. I'm afraid to go back to figure out puzzles.
Because you're not liking the puzzles. That's the part you don't care. So,
Yeah.
for you, 5 or 6 personally.
But I think in general, this game is like a good 7.
Okay. So
7
for
or
somebody who
7
didn't
and a
have,
half.
with no puzzle anxiety, you're thinking like 7, 7.5, something like that.
I think 7.5 is a good solid number for this. It's a good
All right.
first foray into old school game with cool kind of idea of resetting. And then also, I think the narrative's not bad. It's just I don't want to deal with it.
Right.
And the killer thing feels like, what was it, Clock Tower? Remember Clock Tower?
Yeah, Clock Tower was great.
It feels like that. Like, and to pay homage and do it right, it's not, the killer's not too fast, but it's not too slow. So I think it's a good 7.5 for that style of game.
Okay. I think that is fair. All right, there we go. That is Homebody from Game Grumps. And just as an FYI, they also made Dream Daddy, which was the Everybody Date a Hot Dad dating simulator, which came out a couple years ago, which was pretty well received. So
there you go.
There you go. All right, that is Homebody. All right, done. Moving on, let me talk for a minute about Lord of the Rings Gollum.
What? Why would you do that? What's happening? Oh my goodness! I know.
We got sent a code from the publisher, and nobody on staff wanted to cover it.
Well, as you've probably heard on the reviews.
Yes, I have heard the reviews. I knew what it was going into it, and so part of it was grim curiosity, and part of it, to be perfectly honest, is sometimes when a game gets slagged in the reviews, I have to raise my eyebrows a little bit, and I go, like, is it really that bad? And sometimes it is, and sometimes it isn't, right? Like,
right.
For example, like Nier, the first Nier, I thought it was great, and it was getting, everybody forgets, but it got like dumped on when it came out. People were hating that game, and look at it now. Everybody says it's their favorite fucking game.
Oh, and I do the same thing. Remember, to this podcast, I'm always like, oh yeah, that game that got like 2, I downloaded it, so I get it.
Yeah. Or like, Metal Gear Survive. That game got roasted in the reviews and stuff, and I played it. I think it's fucking awesome. I love it. Yeah. So, you never know. You got to just try, right? It's like me and my wife the other day, we wanted to get some pho, right? And our usual pho place was closed, so we had to pick a new place. So we go to this place. It looks like a complete hole in the wall. And in fact, half the place is like a bar. They're playing country music. It looks like a shit show. But I'm like, you got to try it, because you never know. They could have a fucking genius pho broth maker in the kitchen, and you wouldn't know it unless you tried. So you got to try. You never know. You got to try for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So it was terrible. But
nice. That's a life lesson.
It was terrible.
It was terrible.
But you got to try. It could have been our new pho place. It's not, but it could have been. Anyway.
Yeah.
So that's why I was like, I needed to find out for myself. And plus, I wasn't going to spend $60 or anything. But since we had a code that nobody was claiming, I figured I would just, put some use to it and give it a whirl. So
and it was terrible.
It was, it's terrible. It is terrible.
Yeah, I was going to say both the pho and the game. Yes,
both the pho and the game was terrible. So what is Lord of the Rings Gollum? It is a third person, mostly. I hesitate to call it a stealth game, because it kind of is a stealth game, but not really. You're just like, the stealth is so basic. You're just kind of like hiding from folks. So what it really feels like, and this is not my quote, but somebody else said this to me, and I felt like it was very accurate. This feels like, it almost feels like a PS2 era game, like how basic it is, where it's like really straightforward levels. The graphics are pretty basic. The action is super basic. Everything feels clunky. It really does feel like PS2 era, with just like a touch more polish on it, like barely any, right? So you start off the game as Gollum, and for people who don't know, I mean, I think most people probably know who he is, but he's the little dude from Lord of the Rings who steals the One Ring, and he is off doing whatever. He's being a bad guy. Eventually the hobbits find him, they steal the ring back, and then they go on this adventure, and he harries them the entire journey trying to get the ring back. So he's creepy. He looks like a weirdo kind of troll guy. He's the guy that says precious all the time, which is kind of a meme. Yeah. So anyway, I wasn't sure what the deal with this game was, but apparently it's supposed to be canon, which is weird. Yeah, so they have Gandalf the wizard interrogating him in a prison, and he's like, tell me what you were doing when you weren't in the movie. And
exact words.
Yeah. Like, quote. That is a quote, which kind of took me by surprise, but I rolled with it. So basically, Gollum is telling the story of what he was doing when he wasn't on screen, and before it's like after the ring got taken, but before he showed up in the movie, which I don't think anybody cared about. I don't think anybody was wondering about that.
Which can I put an asterisk there?
Yeah.
And say almost all the reviewers were saying like it seems so crazy that he would do anything besides just go get the ring. Yeah. Because he's always concerned about the ring. That's the main thing, precious, blah, blah, blah. And he's doing a whole story adventure game in here.
Yeah,
he should go get the ring.
Just go get the ring, which is, I think, what he did. And that's what I think everybody assumed he did. And, like, he's not... Okay. So what this feels like... I'm just going to jump ahead a little bit here. What this feels like is contractual obligation, the game. It feels like someone needed to make a game out of this. And I'm sure that people were like, what the fuck are we supposed to do with this? Like, how are we going to make a game out of this guy? Because he's kind of like a one-trick pony. He just says precious all the time. He sneaks around, and, like, that's kind of his thing. Like, that's about it. And it's creepy when he shows up for 2 minutes in the movie, but you don't want to watch him for, like, 8 hours. Like, he ain't got that much going on, you know? So here's what happens. Graphics are super basic, like, painfully basic. And I don't like to be a graphics whore or anything, but, like, Gollum looks terrible. He looks really bad. And in the menu, there's an option that says, do you want to simulate hair or not? And I'm like,
oh my goodness.
That is a real option. I said no, because I figured it was probably going to impact the performance, right? So I turned off the hair simulation, put it in performance mode. And, like, I don't know who they were fooling, because it just looks so basic. But, you know,
talk more about the hair. Let's talk about the hair more.
Oh God, not the hair. So he just shows up, and, like, so basically you can do, like, really, imagine if Uncharted, but with Gollum as the main character, where all you're doing is, like, following a track. You got a bunch of cutscenes. You see the colored ledges that you need to climb on. You're running down away from certain things. You're hiding in some bushes that are about as high as your shin. If you catch a guy alone, you can choke him out from behind. But if there's two people, you can't, because you're just too much of a little guy. You don't have the wherewithal. There's no actual, like, combat like that. So it's real basic, dude. This was stealth stuff literally from, like, the PS2 era. And it just is really awkward. And once I got past the initial section, I just really couldn't care, because he gets caught by these orcs. This is not a spoiler, because no one's going to fucking play this game anyway. But he gets caught by the orcs, and then you got to do, like, all this stuff when you're an orc prisoner. You got to, like, do these chores. And I'm like...
Yeah, I heard that.
Is there anything less interesting than being Gollum and having to do chores for the orcs? Like, please collect our livestock, lure them back in the pen. And I'm like, oh, dude.
Plus, again, if it's canon, it doesn't make sense, because he would have just left. He's like such a conniving little guy. He'd been like, I'm out of here, you know?
Yes. I don't want to do the chore collecting. I don't want to collect the badges in the mine. I don't want to, like none of this. I don't care about this. And I'm not saying that you couldn't ever make an interesting game out of this. I mean, I think there is a possibility, because the one bright spot in this game, which is not fully developed, is when you get to a certain story beat. So, for example, the very first thing, he finds a beetle. It's like a beetle flying around.
I was going to say, I heard about that.
Oh, you heard about the beetle? Yeah. Okay. So he finds this beetle, and if you've seen the movie, Gollum is kind of like a split personality. He's got his former self, who is named Smeagol, who is who he was before he got the ring, which made him evil. And then he is Gollum, which is who he is after he gets the ring, which is evil and obsessed with the ring. So he sees the beetle, and he's like, let it go or kill it. And you kind of go into, like, a little quick cutscene where you have to choose which way to go. And, like, obviously Gollum wants to kill it. Smeagol wants to let it go. But then once you decide which way to go, you have to, like, convince the other half of yourself why you want to do that way. So, like, I said, let it go. And then it was like, choice A, he's not going to tell anybody because he's a fucking beetle. Choice B, if I chase it, the bad guys are going to see me with the Eye of Sauron. And choice C, you know, whatever. There was, like, a couple things. I'm like, okay, this is kind of cool. Like, having the internal debate. Mm-hmm. That's kind of neat. And it didn't come up very often. In fact, for the amount of time that I played, I only had the one choice. It was kind of a bummer. I wish it came up a little bit more often. Maybe a little bit more narrative based that way. But overall, it feels like a game that needed to be made to satisfy someone's contractual obligation. It looks really basic. It plays really basic. I got really bored of it quickly. This was not something that I was very interested in. And I think this is one time when I feel like the reviews are correct. I mean, I didn't play the super broken pre-release version. I played the release version, which is kind of better. But yeah, it's not great, and I don't think I would recommend it to anybody. And I feel bad for the dev team, because I'm sure they're really nice, talented people who should probably have been working on something else. So
yeah, it's not the technical thing; it's just the concept. It seems like it's such a weird,
just kind of a non-starter, man. Yeah, I know. So anyway, all right. So that was Gollum. Needless to say, I did not finish it.
Okay.
All right, man, back to you for a game which I think is getting a little more love in the press than Gollum is. Diablo 4, probably going to be one of the best reviewed games of the year, I'm sure. And we talked about it last week, and we're circling back. So why are we circling back to this, Carlos? What's the haps?
Oh, my goodness. Well, there's a few things I wanted to say. One, the developers had a fireside chat video.
Okay.
And I just thought it was really cool to, like, yeah, they didn't do everything that everybody wanted, but at the same time, I just wanted to say a couple things that happened from it. Now, this game is similar to, Path of Exile and other ARPGs where there's like a games as a service game.
Yeah.
And it keeps going, and there's seasons. And if everybody remembers from Diablo 3, there was a lot of seasons. And when you could go to a new season, you had to make a new character or some progress was reset. I never liked that. Like, I just wanted to play one character who got stronger.
Same.
Obviously.
Same.
Yeah, same. Like RPG. But in this one, because I've invested so much time already and beat it, we talked about that last time, right?
We did.
We did. Yep. And have keep going because the world does feel like it feels like a top-down view Elden Ring in a way because the world's so different and so many different biomes and it's just fun. I keep finding random shit because it is connected all the time, so they can just drop in random bosses, here and there, and it does feel like an alive world that kind of keeps changing. And then if you go up in tiers, the world tiers, normally I don't like doing that either because it's like, harder. But then they give you different things. So at World Tier 3, you would get different like special items that drop that are unique, meaning like only a handful of people have them, which is a really cool idea.
Right.
So because of that, I'm still playing it. And because of that, I watched the dev stream. And also because of that, I wanted to know what they were going to say about that season. So season 1, the huge map, when you start it, it won't be reset, which is pretty cool. Meaning, like, the whole Fog of War will be gone still.
Okay. And, like, do you, like, all of the little altars and stuff that you find, like, those are all still checked off?
So here it is. These are very specific things.
Okay.
All the waypoints are available, but you still have to go get them. Meaning, like, you can see where they all are at, which is important.
Reactivate them.
Reactivate them. Just walking over top of them. And then all the altars of Lilith, which are the things that give you a lot of stat points, they're all available to see, and you have the points from them, which I think is really smart. Again, a lot of these things you just have to like go run over and just kind of walk by them and hit a button. Mm-hmm. But you have the points in the beginning because that's a lot of stat points and stuff like that.
So
points.
They don't like depower you down then?
They don't depower you from everything. They do depower you from some stuff. So I won't get into all the nitty gritty. You can go watch the stream. But I'm just saying I bring it up because they did listen to the community and did a bunch of quality of life stuff. And also didn't take everything away from you, which I think is cool because they see how many people are playing it. Was it 350 million hours have already been played in this game?
Yeah.
Just came out. They're like, okay, let's listen to our, content creators and the people playing these games. So I think that was really cool, and it makes me excited to like keep going with the season 1. I think I would probably still do it. The other thing I was trying to bring up is two things. One, in order to get to World Tier 3, you've got to beat this thing called the Capstone Dungeon. It's just this long dungeon.
Is it actually called a Capstone Dungeon?
Capstone Dungeon, yeah.
That is so funny because that's
Why?
What you do in a project when you're in college, when you're going to graduate and stuff. You get to do your capstone project.
That's what they probably meant it for.
That's probably exactly what it is. I'm about to graduate the game, so I got to do my capstone project here. That's funny.
There's 4 tiers available. The first 2, you basically just want to stay on 1 forever until you like feel strong. Then you just jump right to 3 because 3 is where you actually get different things. It's not just harder. It's like you can get, unique legendaries. You can get these sacred items are called. And that's just straight up, like I said, unique items, which are very, very rare. So I'm like, okay, well, I have to go there at some point. I put it off long enough. And so this morning, before I even got started on work, I just went to the Capstone Dungeon and said, okay, I think I'm ready. And I destroyed it. Like,
really?
I didn't have any problems. And I was like, what is going on? I think I put it off for so long that I was actually like OP in that way. And I didn't even think that would happen in a Diablo game. But I mean, I destroyed, dude.
So you went to college and you got like 100 credits more than you needed to graduate. Then you walked and then you just blew everybody away with all the letters behind your name then.
Yeah, they were like, why do you have so many credits? And I was like, listen, these are just extra. Anyways, that was really, really good. And then I went to World Tier 3. I switched it, right? And I noticed the difference. And the biggest difference I'll say is this. I already got a bunch of sacred items I found, and some aren't better than what I had, which made me feel kind of
that
shitty.
seems weird. That seems weird.
It's okay. I found one that was better, and so it's kind of hit or miss. I'm hoping that as I play it longer, I'll find those unique items, and that makes all the difference in the world, right? Because then now I'm like a unique character because I have this one particular armor.
So do you mean unique in the sense that there's only one ever? Like you are the only person in all of Diablo 4 to have that thing? Or is it just...
I don't know to answer that, but I'm guessing it's more like there's 50 of them,
Yeah, okay.
And like say there's like the community of a bazillion people and there's like 50 of these items. That's pretty fucking unique,
Sure.
So it's something like that.
Okay.
Because I remember seeing screenshots of people and like, I have this, and that's cool.
Gotcha.
But in general, the other thing I want to bring up is, so that's how I'm playing it. On World Tier 3, it's fun as shit still. Because
was it like much harder though? Did you get kicked in the face with difficulty?
Oh, that's what I was going to say. Good, thank you for bringing that back up. So, because I had done something. This is two things at once. I had respect my barbarian before jumping into the capstone. Respecking made all the difference in the world. So if you're playing Diablo 4 right now and you're kind of having a hard time, go and respec, which just means like pick different things on the ability tree because you might be like shooting yourself in the foot somewhere. And I was dual wielding, but I was not dual wielding at the same time. And that was a big difference because now I'm hitting with both swords at the same time. Before I was swinging back and forth between the two.
Gotcha.
That simple thing and a couple other changes made me like way stronger. So
okay,
I'm super strong. I feel much stronger anyhow. And so when I got to World Tier 3, to answer your question, ran around the overworld, had no problems, which was pretty cool. I felt really strong. But every once in a while, a random ass monster would try to almost one-shot me. Like,
oh, wow. Okay.
Like 1/4 of my health left all of a sudden. So I call bullshit on that. This is my only con of this whole thing because that doesn't seem like that's a normal ramping because I know that I'm badass now and I have so much interesting thing and one piece of sacred gear already and I destroyed your capstone dungeon and I come out to the world map and a random ass zombie almost one-shots me. That seems broken.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's the problem with level scaling, right? Like instead of designing traditional level, they, I know that neither of us are fans of level scaling, and that's kind of the reason for it, right? Like it's weird to not progress. You don't have a good sense of if you're in danger and if you're not, and then the game tries to compensate, and then you get your super zombie like almost one-shotting you, which is weird. So.
Yeah, I think that's the case, and also they're rebalancing all the time because it's a games as a service. You probably heard, or maybe you haven't, but like there's these dungeons where you just do them a bunch of times to level up and get XP, but then they nerf them, which means that instead of having let's say 100 enemies in it, now it only has 50. And they do that because they're like, they don't want people to level too fast or something. They'll buff other things. So maybe they'll fix that up, but I feel like I was such a badass for this huge dungeon that everybody said was hard. Because I wiped it so fast and came out and then got almost one-shotted by like a regular enemy, that made me mad. Like, that's bullshit.
I mean, that would piss me off too. Like, and you've spent a pretty significant amount of time, right? And
yeah.
I guess it kind of comes down to what kind of experience you want because and I think we're probably more similar than not. Like if you spend all this time, I'm not interested in an experience where even after 50, 100, 150 hours, I still feel like I am climbing that hill, right? Like I want to get to the top of that hill and I want to kick some ass and feel like I am the pinnacle of that in terms of power. Like I don't want to I don't need something that is going to challenge me for infinity, right? Like I want to get to the end of something. I want to master something and then kind of move on. But that's like the opposite, right? Because if it's a game as a service, they got to keep you in forever. And I guess if you're always struggling, then you're never going to feel like you're ready to bounce.
Right. And that's why the season updates are, they reset you,
Yeah.
So I think that in general, if you play this, obviously if you don't do any of the seasons, you will get stronger and stronger. And even though they're leveling with you, like I said, I just wiped that dungeon. So even though they were my same level, I still beat them, right? Pretty easily. So you can probably overlevel a little bit if you didn't ever do the seasons, and the season's going to respec or restart some of the stuff. So I don't know. In general, again, it's a fucking fantastic game. I think that there's so many other avenues I could talk about, but a lot of the content creators are talking about how the dads are taking over Diablo 4, meaning that the dads, meaning like a ton of people who are like more casual and aren't the min-maxers and aren't the insane, Path of Exile people, are playing Diablo 4 because it's fucking great. And they're playing the campaign and they're just chilling. You know, they're not trying to min-max. They're not trying to go to World Tier 3. And they are like a lot of people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they have a voice and they're telling the developers what they would like and what they don't like. And so I just think that there's a ton of them is what the content creators are saying. It's like there's a lot more than you think of casual Diablo 4 players. And it's exciting to see that because it doesn't, you know, a game doesn't have to be just what you think it's going to be, which is like this very nerdy min-max game. This is like Elden Ring. It's the good bridge between the two. You know, both can exist at the same time.
I mean, I agree 100%, but let's sit on that for a second. You know, something that I think we need to really come to grips with as an industry, the games industry, is that you're not fucking 20 forever. Like, you're not 20 with the reflexes and the free time and, you know, like just the interest to like prove yourself over and over. Like, we're all aging, dude. We're all getting older. And, you know, you got a job that works you really hard. You got a kid that you got to take care of. You got a spouse that probably needs some time and attention because they're great. And, you know, that doesn't leave you very many hours to like hardcore min-max on something. And so it makes sense that there would eventually, I mean, we're kind of seeing it for the very first time now because this medium is so young, but we're now seeing this giant group of people who probably grew up with games just like you and me, who still love games, but don't want to like bust our asses trying to get good doing some shit because we get good in life every fucking day. Like, I don't need to do that when I fucking come home and sit on the couch, right?
Right.
So it makes sense to me that, you know, the quote unquote dads or the moms or whoever is gonna be like having more of a voice because that's gonna be everybody's gonna get there. We need to start developing for that. We cannot develop for the 20-year-old try hard get goods forever because that not only does it limit the medium, but like it limits your audience too. You're going to be shutting out all these people who could potentially, who have been your audience, and then you're going to lock them out when they get older. That's stupid. That's money left on the table, not to mention all of the different considerations that go into it. So yeah, I mean, I think that's great. I think we need to like start paying attention to that, and not that the dads or the moms or whoever need to dominate, but they do need to be taken into consideration.
And I'm saying it's crazy that they are, you know, like, I think this is that game. I think they did a really good job, and they're continuing to do a good job of listening, you know, saying like what you just said, like everybody doesn't have all the time in the day to play this game. Like other, you know, YouTube content creators that's all they're doing.
That's all they're doing, yes.
But the fact is, like I said, both can exist at the same time in this game. Because even me, who's kind of in between those two, like I did fucking min-max a lot this weekend, right? I had fun nerding out with it, and believe me, I spent a long time looking at numbers and stuff and watching videos. But then this week, I'm not going to do any of that, right? I'm just going to chill, go in, do side missions, because guess what? No one's talking about this. Some of those side mission stories are really good. They're like really good little side story missions that make sense, and I feel good that I helped the person out. So I just can fuck around and do that. And I think anybody could do that and never go to World Tier 3, right? And just play the fucking Diablo game.
Yeah.
On the
and
regular
there's nothing
level.
wrong with that. Literally nothing wrong with that at all.
But and what I'm saying is everybody's doing that. There's a ton of people doing that, which is great.
Yeah, makes sense.
Last thing I'll say, and yes, I'll keep playing it, is I didn't mention this, and this is, I want more games to do this. And I know this game can do it because it's the games as a service. I feel like Elden Ring did it again as well. But the other day I was just walking around, and it's kind of good not to watch every freaking YouTube video so you can have surprises. But because they throw in random bosses, like I said earlier,
yeah,
I saw this guy just in the woods, and he had like, you know, crazy health bar over him, and it all these unique kind of, you know, moniker and stuff like that. I was like, oh, I've never seen that guy before. And he's just standing there, and he doesn't attack, and he just comes out of the woods, and he, again, has 1,000,000 hit points, and I'm like, what the fuck is this guy about? And he just starts walking at me. He's like, he just kept walking at me, just taking damage. And I was like, who is this? And it said unique or something. So I don't know how many people have seen this guy, but it was so kind of cool and spooky that he just came out of the woods. He had 1,000,000 hit points. I beat him, by the way.
I thought you were going to say he like talked to you or something. I was
no,
that'd
that'd been cool too. I would have been creepy actually, but you know what I mean? Like those kind of experiences I like. Like I was like, what the fuck was that guy? And then I got some unique item from him and stuff like that. So like, yeah, I like games like that. So anyways, this game's fucking great. It's so addictive. There's the only issue I have is the one-shotting bullshit with the level scaling, because I'm stronger than that. They shouldn't be able to do that right now, but they're trying to buff it. That's what they're doing. They're buffing some bullshit, some math somewhere. Like freaked out.
They're tweaking a number.
They're tweaking a number, and then I almost get one-shotted, which is garbage. Diablo 4, check it out.
Check it out, Diablo 4. All right. Complete change of pace here. I'm going to talk about the Case of the Golden Idol. This game came out on PC earlier this year, just to like rave reviews, right? And I'm like, oh, okay, it's on my radar. Hopefully they're going to bring it to console because it looks interesting. I didn't know like all the ins and outs of it, but whenever one of these comes out and it gets that much praise, it always is like, okay, this is something I need to at least check out. So finally came to console. I'm playing it on Switch. I'm not sure if it's on PlayStation, Xbox, but it is on Switch. And it also comes with some DLC. I think it's called something the new Spider is in the name of the DLC or something. This is a really super interesting game. It's very different. It's very different than I thought it was going to be. It is very different from anything that I have ever played. It's rare that we come across something where I'm like, wow, I don't think I've ever played anything quite like this before, but that is the case here. I'm not sure that I've ever played anything quite like this before. So what this is it's kind of a point and click, sort of, but not really. It's also kind of a detective game, and it's also kind of a logic puzzle. So what it is you get to this. Oh man, struggle even to describe what this is.
What is this game?
What is it? You start the game and you see a picture. And it is a picture of a guy who's like dead. He's on a mountainside, and there's like tiny little animations, just like the wind is blowing, or like the guy is like twitching a little bit or something. Like it's basically a still picture though, right? And so you have a mouse cursor, and you can kind of go over the picture, and you'll see little hotspots. The hotspots are highlighted, so kudos. Thank you, developer, for highlighting the hotspots.
Yes,
Thank you.
Oh, by the way, Homebody does the same thing. So
okay, good.
Kudos.
I love when they do that. Just do that. Just do it. So that's great. And so you look at this thing, and at first I was like, what am I even doing? What's even happening? I don't even know what's going on. They could have done a little bit better in the tutorial, but you figure it out pretty quickly. So what you do is you look at this picture with there's like a tent, gold coin, or a statue or something. The guy is dead. And like, you're just looking at this going, what is even happening? So you hit a button, and one button is like the looking screen, and one button is the thinking screen. So you go to the thinking screen, and there is like a list, like a text list, and it has blanks taken out of it, like a Mad Libs or something. And so you have to figure out, it'll say like, oh, this guy, comma, blank, was killed in the mountain that was called blank, and he was killed because blank. And so you're like, okay, so I need to go back to the looking screen and figure out, okay, so I got to figure out what's his name, what's he doing here, why did he get killed? And so they kind of tell you in the looking screen what you're looking for. So once you figure that out, you go back to the other screen, and you just absorb the information. You just look at the screen and take it in. And there's documents you can read. You click on the documents. You can examine certain items. But that's it. Like, you're just looking at the screen, and you're using your brain power to put two and two together. Like, it's literally like Columbo Simulator, right? You're just like, guy's dead, and he's got blood on his shoe.
Right.
Well, that means this. And here's a gold coin, but it's flipped over on the head side. That means this. And here's a document, and that means this. And so you're like, as you click on things, you'll get words added to the bottom of your thinking screen. And when you go back to the thinking screen, you can take those words with your cursor and plug them into the blank spots. And if they work, it'll be like, yes, you figured it out. And if it doesn't work, it'll be like, at least one of these is wrong. And then you got to figure out which one is wrong and like where you went wrong. So that is basically the gist of this game. It's really interesting and unique and fascinating. And I literally don't think I've ever played anything exactly like this. I mean, maybe like in the ballpark, but this one definitely feels like its own thing. And I never played, what is that game where you, oh gosh, I meant to write it down and I forgot. The game where you're investigating people dying on like a ship, and you have a clock, and you're like, it was very,
oh my goodness,
very well received indie game where, oh God, I can hear people screaming at me from the audience. You were investigating, you had to like discover like who was dead, match the dead person with their name.
Oh, right.
You know what I'm talking about.
I
It had a
game,
really,
I don't know.
It had a really cool visual style. And
it
did.
Yeah.
Okay, hey, whatever. God, I suck.
It's like podcast. That kind of. You're saying.
Yes, people are saying it's not the same thing, but it's the same kind of like Oberdin. That's what it was.
Oh,
Oberdin.
Right,
where you have to use your brain in a different way than you're used to using it. And so that's what it's got in common with this. Like, it really feels like you're stretching your brain meat in a way that it has not been stretched very much before. So I love the art. The art is great. It's really ugly and grotesque in an intentional way, and I think it suits the content really well. There is a story that carries from picture to picture, because each puzzle is just like one picture, and sometimes there's like a part A and a part B. You can, like, for example, like in the next puzzle, you're like outside in a courtyard, but you click on the door, you go inside the room, but nothing's moving. Like, it's still just like a still picture, but you're like the inside picture, the outside picture, more clues and stuff. But the story is basically about the golden idol, which this guy finds in the mountain. And each time you go to the next screen, it tells more and more about what happened with the idol, like people killing each other for the idol. The idol has some weird power to it, et cetera, et cetera. So there's a narrative that overarches the whole thing. But then also, you're also trying to figure out the minor puzzles. Why is this guy burning? Who was the guy that burned? Why was, who is this guy standing next to him? What's his deal? Why is he standing right there? Like, you got to figure out all these little things. So this is very cool, very interesting, very unique. Everything about it is just like really, really cool and neat. I love it. But I am not smart enough to play this game.
I was going to say the same thing for me.
I am not smart enough to play this game. I got past the first two, no problem. A little bit of trial and error. I was still kind of learning the systems. I'm like, okay, so word here, word there, go back. Okay, got it. Poking around, like, I'm like, okay, this is really cool. Oh, this is so neat. This is not what I thought. This was fun. And they got to the third puzzle, and I'm like, oh shit, dude, like, I'm stuck. And I just, like, I didn't want to just FAQ it, but like, I got stuck for like a day. I was like, I'm gonna give myself one day to figure this out. I didn't do it, and I got the FAQ, and I'm like, oh shit, I was way off. Like, I wasn't even in the ballpark on this one. Like, I was. And when I saw how off I was like, oh damn, okay, I'm not smart enough to play this game. So,
well,
it's wonderful. I think it's wonderful, clever. If you have a detective brain, if you are Columbo Jr., like, this is, I mean, there's nothing bad about it. Like, it is a class act.
Yeah.
I just can't hang, man. It's my problem, not theirs.
Again, it is your problem with an asterisk, because I'm Mr. Asterisk on this podcast.
Yeah.
But because I don't think we should use the word smart anymore when it comes to, like, I'm not smart enough. It's a different type of brain.
Sure, different kind of thinking.
Mindset. Yeah. Because if I need to figure out Homebody's puzzles, I can. You know what I mean?
Sure.
It'll take me a while, and maybe longer than others, because they have a different analytical brain, and I don't.
Yeah,
I have a very creative mindset that doesn't like.
No, that's fair. You're right.
You're
right.
A to B to C.
Yeah.
I like A to Z to Q to 12. Like, that's my brain.
To pizza is where I go.
Yeah, I go to pizza to 12 to 75. But yeah, like, I think that's the thing. Like.
No, I think you're correct. I think that's a better way to say it. I do not have the proper type of analytical thinking within me, where I see these clues, and to my brain they don't make sense, but to somebody else's brain they're like, oh yeah, of course this goes together. But maybe I'm better at doing something. Maybe I'm better at whatever putting robot parts on my guy in Armored Core. I can min-max, and that makes sense to me, whereas this other person might not be great at that. But everybody's got different skills. So yeah, that's true. It's not just like you're intelligent or you're not, because I think there's a lot of lateral thinking. I think there's a lot of intuition that's needed. And to be fair, or maybe to be fair to me anyway, which is really the most important thing. If this game was changed in such a way, and I don't know how they do this, but if it was changed in such a way to let people who didn't have that exact kind of analytical thinking be a little bit more into it, I would love this. I mean, I think this would be, like, for me, maybe like a top 10, because it's so interesting, so new, so innovative and fresh. Like, I love to celebrate something like this. But you have to have that kind of thinking, and if that's not who you are, and it's not who I am, I got stuck so quick, and there's no way that I could progress without getting the answers. And when I got the answers, they still didn't even make sense to me.
Yeah,
so that's you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I love this game, but I also can't play this game, and I don't know what can be done about it, but I wish it was slightly more accessible to a wider variety of thinking types. And I know that's I don't know if that's an unfair criticism to make. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't, but I want to love this game. I really want to love this game, but I just can't, because it just got too frustrating too quickly. And I know that's because of we're just not vibing the same way, right?
I have a certain kind of tangent off that. It's almost like, so everything doesn't have to be everything to everybody. We know that, right?
Right.
And sometimes when we talk about games, I feel like we might say that, and I want to make sure that I don't think that.
No, that is true. Agreed.
There's such specific types of art that, it's just not for everybody. Secondly, I think to your point, it's like there's a ton of horror movies. I think I love the cinematography, and I love, like, let's say like 3 scenes that are really creepy, but then there's like a ton of gore in it, and I don't want to watch it, and it has like a bad ending, right?
Yeah.
So that movie's not for me. Yet at the same time, I wish parts of it, could be somewhere else, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so that makes perfect sense, and I totally agree. And it just sucks. I feel just really disappointed because so much of this game really speaks to me. Like the concept, the art, doing something so different with your Switch is just really exciting to me. And it's a bummer that I just hit a wall so hard and so quickly that I don't feel like it's worth my time to struggle, because after spending a day trying to figure out what clues go where and being so wildly wrong about all of it, I'm like, okay, I guess I'm glad I'm not a police detective, because I probably wouldn't solve too many cases. Columbo is good where Columbo's at, and I'm not Columbo, so it's a bummer. But yeah, not everything needs to be to all people. But at the same time, I do think they could have made this maybe a little bit easier for people who don't have that exact thinking, or maybe a little bit more clues or something. The clue system I don't think is great. So anyway, I think it's awesome. If this sounds interesting, definitely check it out. I don't have the brain for it, which I'm sad about, but what are you going to do? There you go.
What are you going to do?
What are you going to do? I'm going to move on to another game is what I'm going to do. Probably.
Okay, but that's also a good name for the podcast.
What are you going to do?
What are you going to do?
All right, so that is Case of the Golden Idol. Again, kind of a love that wasn't meant to be. But let's move on to you, Carlos, for the Final Fantasy 16 demo. It's available on PlayStation 5. I downloaded it, and I meant to get to it, and I just didn't, so I apologize for that. But you got to it, and I don't know what you're going to say, but everybody on Twitter, like literally, and this is not an exaggeration, this is not hyperbole, literally every person I talked to who played it loved it, and almost everybody immediately pre-ordered it. So that to me is a pretty strong showing, especially if you know my circle, because like not everybody is a Final Fantasy fan in my circle, which got me kind of excited, cautiously excited, because I'm not a big Final Fantasy fan, but boy, the love of this demo is basically universal. So I am hanging on your every word here, sir. Please tell me what your take was. Yeah,
that's a lot of pressure. I don't know. I don't want
to feel that pressure, Carlos. Feel it.
Whew. Well, I kind of have. I don't think I have what you think I'm going to say.
Oh shit. Okay. All right. I'm sitting down. Go ahead.
Sit back down, I guess.
Okay.
So I agree with a lot of people who enjoyed it. Obviously, let's put another asterisk for the podcast. I love Final Fantasy. I love 15. One of my favorite games.
Yeah.
Even though it had the more, in quotes, traditional mix of action and strategy, Final Fantasy kind of combat, this one being all action, right? One of the first times it's going to have just an action RPG for Final Fantasy without any like planning out of moves. But in general, I like these games. Like, it's a no-brainer. I'm going to play this.
Yes.
So that's the easy one, the easy answer. Of course I'm going to play it. Secondly, the demo is very interesting and unique in the fact that, yes, progress carries over, which is, I guess, kind of cool, but it's really the prologue story. So there's no real progress. I think your options that you pick in the menu, and like a few different things you picked up carry over, but like there's not much to carry over, if that makes sense.
Okay, yeah, it makes sense.
Because you're playing the prologue. So the demo starts off with present day, and I was like, okay, cool. Like, I'm just going to play the game and then carry over my progress. No. As soon as you do present day for a little while, something happens, then you go to the past. And you're playing the past as the main character, but you're also playing a split game where you're playing you and you're playing your younger brother. They play totally different because you're mainly, I think, going to be playing you in the game. Mm-hmm. But your younger brother is kind of a wizard, magician or whatever, and moves super slow. He's like way younger than you. Like, I don't know how old, but like super slow.
We're not talking like toddler age, are we?
No, but
that would be funny though. Yeah, that'd be funny.
He's just rolling around in his crib, and you're like casting spells
yeah,
to float.
That's pretty good.
But basically, yeah, he moves so slow. It's crazy, and like the jump is really pathetic. But he's got like crazy magic spells. So it's just kind of like showing you. I don't know why they do that sometimes, but I guess showing you a different perspective of like magic users, maybe. I don't know.
Equal representation? I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
But in general, it's you go around the town, you're learning your combat, you're, fighting with your master to figure out all the combos and stuff like that. And the combat is fun. It's tough because I'm coming from Diablo 4, where everything's so frenetic and I'm so min-maxy, and frames are like tight, and I'm like, it's spot on. Diablo 4, I could say one thing it does, even if it's one-shotting every once in a while, it's spot on with like how fast it is and how what's the word, responsive. This one didn't feel as responsive. Now it has performance or graphics mode, of course. I switched it to performance because I'd be doing a lot of real-time combat. And even with switching it to performance, I didn't feel like it was fast enough.
Really?
Like if you think of Wolong or Sekiro or these games we've been playing.
Sure.
It's like, again, this kind of like very responsive, very, not even with 60 frames, but that is part of it. Like, just quick and tight. And it felt old school a little bit. And it's like, huh. And then is I put the performance mode on, and it did that stupid thing where it blurs around the character a little bit.
I don't like that.
I hate that. And I don't know what technological limit that is that devs hit, but not all games do it. You know what I mean? Like, we play them all.
I hate it when that crops up. And
it's there. So maybe it's just the demo, but I was like, this is a $70 game. I don't know, man. That blur on the head, it felt old school. So I wasn't in love with it. And then here's the other con. The camera was off, the right analog camera button, I had to adjust that.
Like the speed of it or something?
Yes.
What do you mean?
And I've never had to adjust it in a Final Fantasy game. Like, it felt bad. And by the way, I beat the demo, but all the way up to the end, I still didn't feel good about it. I was like, I think it's off still. Meaning like it's either too fast or too slow. Those are really weird because you're going to be doing combat this whole game.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's all about the feel, the control, the combat. If that's what the game is, it should be tight. It should be dialed in. And it sounds like you're having just everything is just slightly off there.
It's slightly off. And here's the pro then. So those are the cons where I don't like the blur on the graphics. I think just in general, all the graphics feel a little foggy in a way. And I just didn't feel crisp. By the way, we should look it up if performance mode is 60. It doesn't say it's 60.
Oh, okay.
But it doesn't feel like it is. At least in the demo, it felt like less. Secondly, when you actually are getting in there, because they finally do let you out and fight just monsters.
Yeah.
A couple of things are pretty cool. One is that you can, like I said before, you can equip these little things that give you bonuses. So you're not good at fighting games in real time, then they'll give you an auto dodge or something. I took only one of them, and it was pretty cool, which was it just gives you a longer dodge time. Meaning, if they're going to do a monster's going to do a huge hit on you, it gives you that little circle, what's it called, like a timer, And it's hit. It's like a quick time event, and it says, okay, hit your dodge button, and so it gives you a second to do it,
extra time to
extra
dodge.
time, than normal. Gotcha. So you're not doing perfect dodge, and having to do a Dark Souls. It's just so you know, there's a dodge coming up. So I kept that on. Because in general, it's not all the time, but it's for the big hits,
Yeah.
And I was like, well, why wouldn't I keep that? I think that's kind of okay.
I mean, and if you have slower reflexes or you don't want to,
right.
Don't want to Sekiro yourself, you got to leave it on and just make it a little bit easier on yourself.
Right. So I think that once I finally got in the throes of it, there's enough interesting new mechanics. I won't go into all of them, but there's lots of different combos. There's lots of different magic. Your character isn't just straight melee. It's melee with magic. So you kind of are always doing both. And I just felt like there was a lot of options when I finally got in the field and fought monsters. And maybe the graphics looked a little better. I don't know. But I don't know. It was just such a weird start where I had to play two characters. I didn't want to. I don't play that little kid. And then I didn't love the graphics and I didn't love the feel of the game. Which is a lot of the whole game. But then later when you get into a party, you go out in the field and fight monsters. That felt better. So I'm hoping that, lots of times they throw a demo together, right? To just kind of get shit up.
Yeah.
So I'm betting that the rest of the game is feels better. So, but
interesting.
I do like the story a lot, and I'm very interested. I mean, they make it, here's the other asterisk, the last of the show. It's pretty fucking dark at times.
Like story-wise.
Yeah. And
yeah, I was just going to say, you didn't say a lot about the story,
things.
but everybody was talking about like, oh, the story was way different than I thought it was going to be, and it was mature and interesting. And I mean, are you agreeing with that?
Yeah, I mean, if mature means sad.
It usually does.
I know, right?
In the real world, it sure does, yes.
Yeah, I think it is sadder. So I'll give you that. Like for a Final Fantasy game, like let's take 15 for instance. It's a road trip, dudes.
Right.
Let's have a road trip. Oh, we're going to stop at the gas station. And this one's like, everything's gone to shit. You're at the pile of shit. Oh, by the way, the demo ends. Can I say the spoiler of the? How
yeah, it's just a demo. Go for it. Yeah.
You end up in jail. It's like nothing worked. Everybody lost. It's bad. Like it's like a Game of Thrones ending to a demo.
Okay.
Which, if you're like an RPG person and you know it's going to be like you're going to get more powerful in that game, it makes me incentivize me to like want to win.
Yeah.
Which is, by the way, why I pre-ordered it. Which no one does except Carlos.
Interesting. I knew that you pre-ordered it, but then listening to you talk about it, I was like, well, that doesn't sound like a slam dunk. But you did pre-order, so it must have been good enough to get you to do it.
Well, because again, I was going to pre-order no matter what it was, unless it like was a strategy game and totally different game than I was expecting. I think there's enough quality of life things with those little additions that they did. There's a very compelling story, so everybody who's talking about that is right. It's super sad, but it makes you want to see this thing through, And so I think those things together, and it being a Final Fantasy game, I'm just going to play it. Like, so I don't know, but I do have some qualms. I have qualms. And I didn't think I would have any qualms.
There are multiple qualms here. More qualms than I was expecting.
There's more qualms than you would think.
Definitely.
We're fishing for the podcast title, number 2.
Yes, many qualms. I think maybe Magic Toddlers is a pretty good
collection of qualms.
Collection of qualms, qualmified.
We'll see. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, my short answer is I played the demo, beat it. Oh, by the way, the end of the demo they have you can just do combat section. Mm-hmm. I didn't do it because I feel like the demo ends with the story beat, and I want to go right from that to the game.
Right.
Because it's like a battle arena bullshit. And it's like, get better at fighting before you play the game. No. Canon, baby. Canon.
Yeah.
I want to go and like learn the moves in the game. So I think it's cool they did that, but I'm not going to do it. So,
sure.
In general, yeah, of course I'm going to play it. And by the way, it's 2 days from now.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize it was that soon.
It's that soon.
It's that soon. So we'll definitely be talking about it next week, I'm sure.
Yes.
All right, that is Final Fantasy 16. Further thoughts are on the way. We will talk about it next week. I'm positive we will. Okay.
We will.
Last game of the show is coming from me, and this is a very interesting one. I love it when I get like a PR email for a game I've never heard of. I click that email, and I'm like, oh, this art looks pretty neat. And then I read the description, and I'm like, oh, this sounds pretty cool. And then the person sends me the code, and I'm like, oh, this is pretty good. Oh. I love surprises, dude. I love surprises like that. It's great. It's like my favorite thing in the whole world. I live for these surprises. And I'm very happy today to be talking about Harmony, the Fall of Reverie, coming from Don't Nod, who is a big publisher who makes a lot of successful games. And this is one more of those successful games. I love Don't Nod, and I think I love them more than I thought I did, because I ended up... Their very first game, Remember Me, I hated. I did not like that one.
And I liked parts of it. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I like parts, but man, that game was just like busted in so many ways, and it was really frustrating to play. It had a lot of cool ideas, but it was kind of a misfire. And I think that kind of like got us off on the wrong foot with Don't Nod. And then they came back with Life is Strange, which to my horror and my shame, I've actually not played the entire series. I've only played, I want to say like 1.5 episodes, and I was like, oh, I'm going to wait for the whole thing to come out. And then I just forgot about it. And
it's really good, especially that second one.
That's what everybody says. Like, it's on my list, dude. Honestly, I think I own all of it. I just haven't played it. I just need to make the time. So I'm embarrassed about that. But I have played many of their other games, and this is one. So I talked about Gerda, A Flame in Winter earlier. I talked about the DLC like last episode or the episode before that. That's great. That's a great fucking game coming from Don't Nod. That's a wonderful game. And this one, Harmony, The Fall of Reverie, another great game. These guys are just like, once they got off of Remember Me, it's just been kind of hit after hit after hit for these guys. So Yes, yes, sir. Also, side note, I don't know about you, Carlos, but I find that in the world of video games, the word reverie comes up so many more times than it does in real life. Do you notice that?
Yeah, I'd never used it in my life ever.
I don't think I've ever said it out loud except for right now on the podcast. I don't think I've never had a conversation and been like, "Oh yes, the other day I found myself deep in reverie." You know, like you just
Yeah.
you just don't fucking say it in real life, but it's a word that comes up all the time in video games. Weird. Anyway, what is this game? This game is a visual novel, and you know I play a lot of those. I play almost all of them, but I am very demanding about my visual novels. I do not want to read a book on my Switch. That's not what I want. If the books exist, for now anyway. So what I want is something that takes a story heavy approach, but also leverages the medium of video games. You're on a video game console. You can do anything that you want. There's basically no limits to what you can create. So I want to see visual novels that add art, that add animation, that add gameplay mechanics that you can only do on a video game, that somehow do something else other than just give me anime portraits and make me scroll through text. There's too many of those, and I hate them.
Well, and you're on your Switch. That's a
and you're on your Switch.
Thing. Yeah,
exactly right. There's lots of it sucks too because I have a lot of people in my visual novel circles, and a lot of them are fine with the anime and scrolling text. And like I've had people recommend games to me because they know that I like visual novels. Oh my god, you got to play this one! It's so great. And I play it, and I'm like, dude, this is just text. Yeah, but the story's so great. I don't want that. I can read a book. There's 1,000 books which have stories that are way better than anything you ever find in a video game. Truth. I don't want that. I want something that leverages games, right? So this is that. This is that thing to a fucking T because they have great graphics. The art style is perfect. I love it.
It's awesome. Yeah.
It's awesome. It's got some great music. It's very active because there is reading, but they are smart and they don't make you read a paragraph. They just make you read very brief snippets. And then there's lots of stuff that you can only do in a video game. So before I get ahead of myself, what is this game about? You play a woman who is called home. She lives on an island and her mom has disappeared. Her mom was like kind of a prominent member of the artistic community in this small island. Kind of seems like kind of a bohemian, kind of a weird thing. Where they live is like a converted, I don't know, like school or something. It looks like an old building. It strikes the right notes for me because I've been to places like this where like some hippie will like buy some big ass building and then they turn it into like kind of a quasi commune where people show up and paint and you know like that shit exists. That's like a real thing and they really nailed that vibe. Like it definitely seems like some rich woman would buy this place and like they put a kitchen in the pool and drained the pool like it was dry, like you know, but they use that space and there's like beadwork and macrame everywhere and people are just like chilling like that. It makes sense, right? The vibe is very on point. So anyway, her mom disappears, prominent member of the artistic community. You come back to see like, hey man, where's my mom? And you don't get along with her. Like she's always been kind of distant, never really had a close relationship with you. She has as much more love for people in your circle than for you. And that's always bothered you because it's your fucking mom. So you come back to see what's going on. And as soon as you get there, this is not a spoiler. This is in all the trailers. You get warped into like another dimension. And this is like the dimension of like these gods who are kind of like gods, but they're also like emotions. There's like one guy who's called like power. One guy is called bond. One guy is called bliss. One is called truth. Like, so they're like these concepts, but they're also people and they're also like these powerful entities. And you can go back and forth between these two worlds, between the real world and this like emotional world at a whim. And they talk to you and they're like, oh man, we're in trouble in this dimension. We really need your help. Your mom tried to help us and she's like, fucked it up. And now we need your help. And so that's where your mom went. And that, again, not a spoiler. They tell you that like in the first 5 minutes of the game. So what you need to do is figure out what happened to your mom. They don't know what happened to her. They know she fucked it up, but they don't know like where she went. And then you need to work with all these different people, these gods. And sometimes they work together. Sometimes they're opposing. But how this plays out is like they give you a power. And this is actually tied into the gameplay, which I think is brilliant. This is so brilliant. You go to you talk to somebody, you have a conversation. And then when you're on this conversation, you go to a map. And the map shows you all of the potential conversations you could have. Just right there, right in front of you. You can click on any of them that you want. And it'll tell you in brief. It won't tell you all the details, but it'll say, I'm going to talk to Nora and ask who she was texting. Or it'll say, I'm going to talk to Laszlo, ask him why he was mad. I'm going to talk to Jeff and see where he went that day. Like whatever you want to know, it's all on the map. And they also tell you what you need to do to get there. So in order to get a secret out of one person, you're going to have like one power point, which means along the way, you need to make a powerful choice. Or like if you want to get somebody's secret out of them, you want some truth. So along the way, you need to get like a truth point out of them. And they show you where all those points are on the map. So if you want to be like, okay, well, I want to get to ending C of scene 3, that means I need to figure out powerful choice, truthful choice, bond choice, and you map your route out.
Oh, that's interesting on a map. That's cool.
Like it's totally on a map. Like you just know where it is. But the reason that this is so cool, and this is very different from normal visual novels, is because in the game they say that because you are the person who can go between worlds, you have the power to see the future. And that's what this is. You're seeing the future of like, I know what you're going to say, and I can arrange events to make sure that I get there for you to say it, right? So they incorporate that into the story. The gameplay and the story go hand in hand. The way that they incorporate like all of the gods and stuff is really interesting. Like I feel like they're all cool people with interesting personalities. You like some of them more than others, and how they affect the people that you talk about is really interesting too, because you can see, like for example, Bliss, she just tosses a softball to everybody. She never wants to grill anybody. She never wants to get the truth out of anybody. She's always like, be supportive and just give them a hug and stuff. And sometimes that's cool. Sometimes that is what you're supposed to do. But sometimes you got to have a hard conversation. And that's like when Power comes in and he's like, I don't care what they feel. I got to know what's going on. And they kind of like embody like all these concepts that makes sense, right? They're all intuitive. Like, you know what's going on. The interesting one, I think, is Bond, where he's portrayed as kind of like this, he looks kind of like an African person, and he's got this like, web of, he's playing cat's cradle on his hands. He's got like all these strings in his hands. And so he's always like, look, you got to respect people, you got to build bridges, you got to make community. And that's like his whole thing. And that, to me, so for me, in my playthrough so far, that's been the most effective one, where you're not bulldozing anybody, you're not sugarcoating anything for anybody, but you are showing that you need to work together to get certain things done. And taking his route has been really interesting, and I feel like is a good personality fit. But you can go other ways. There's like a chaos guy who just likes to set fire to everything, and there's like lots of ways you can play this. So the way that this all comes together, the story of your mom, which is interesting in and of itself, seeing how these powerful entities affect you and affect people, and then seeing how your ability to see the future collides into the gameplay of getting the story that you want to get. This is all just like fucking brilliant, dude. This is all just like popping on every level. Like, it's working. Everything makes sense. Everything comes together. This is great. This piece feeds this piece. This piece supports the other piece. It's all just like a finely tuned puzzle. All these pieces are just like popping. This is great. It's all good. There's no buts. No buts. This is just no buts. This is super great stuff. The only thing that I think is interesting for me, and this is not a but it's just like an interesting thing to think about, is after playing so many visual novels, like, you get used to thinking about, I'm going to meet these characters and I'm just going to go with my feeling, right? I'm just going to go with what I want to feel. And if I'm feeling sympathetic to them, or if I'm not feeling sympathetic, I'm going to make a choice in the moment, right? That's usually how it goes. But in this game, because you are this precognitive person, and they say it out loud, like it's canon in the game, you are a person who can see the future, you have to play it a different way. You have to think ahead, kind of chess-like, where it's like, if I want to figure out answer A, you got to make the choices that are going to get you there. And that's part of the gameplay, which is really weird and different for a visual novel. Now, I know that if you're one of those visual novel people that likes to see every conversation and you get every single ending, well, eventually you're going to do that because you got to figure out what you need to do to get there. But I think most people probably just play with their gut the first time through, or play with their boner, I guess, either way. Whoever you want to bang the most is the one you usually follow. But in this way, you got to kind of turn it on its head, and that was kind of foreign to me. Like, it felt really, I don't want to say like, I just had a hard time because I really wanted to sympathize with the people, and I wanted to just feel it out in the moment. Because you don't have all the information. Like, sometimes you think, is this conversation going to be enlightening personally, or is it going to be enlightening in a factual way? Like, I'm not quite sure, but if I feel like this person has something I need to know, then I'm going to angle myself over there to get there. But then it may not be the thing that I expected, even though I know what the future is, but you don't know all the details of the future. You know, like the broad strokes of the future. So you kind of have to gamble a little bit on like what you think is going to be where you want to go. And sometimes you're right and sometimes you're wrong. And sometimes a thing that you think wasn't where you wanted to go ends up being the thing that you wanted. And so that's like a nice surprise when it happens. But the downside, not a downside of this, but like, but the other factor is you can only ever take one route. Like, you can't see everything in depth. So like, if you choose to be friends with this girl, that means you didn't have time to talk to the guy, and that route gets closed off to you forever. So you can see there was like 15 branches you could have gone, but those are locked out now because you didn't take that path.
Right.
And so you're constantly thinking about, where do I want to go? What am I going to lose? What am I going to gain? Is this the thing that I want? Is it not? And then you just kind of roll through. It's fucking fascinating. And it's not a complete reinvention of visual novels, because I feel like a lot of these ideas have been done in other places, but the implementation is really unique and really well done. And it shows a thoughtful consideration of what this genre is and ways that people can do something different with it while still having it be familiar and approachable.
Yeah.
It's really fucking smart. It's really brilliant. I feel like they have really poured a lot of resources into this, and just, it feels like a game where they gave a shit. Like, it's the opposite of the Gollum game, right? Like, I feel like the Gollum game, those people were probably chained to their desks. I feel bad for them. They probably had to finish this. They probably hated every minute of their life. It was probably torture. This game, Harmony, The Fall of Reverie, it feels like they were believing in it. It feels like they loved it. It feels like they wanted you to get the experience out of it that they were trying to give you. And it just comes across so strongly in every aspect of it. Polished, beautiful, perfect. Like, this is a fantastic visual novel. Fantastic experience. I'm not done. I feel like I'm more than halfway for sure. And I think it's fantastic. I'm doing 2 chapters a day to pace myself.
Yeah.
Because I want to finish it too quickly. And man, it's the shit. If you like visual novels, this is one of the best ones this year.
Well,
Easily.
like books, you don't have to rush a book. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, that you're really enjoying.
Yeah.
And I like how what you described it as, they took the mechanics and put it into the canon,
Oh man, so
That's
smart.
like
what a smart choice.
idea.
So smart. Yeah. Yeah.
Check it out for sure.
Yeah, that is a big winner. And I feel like it's going under everybody's radar. It's already been out for like a week and I haven't heard anybody talking about it except for me. So if you like anything about what I said, you like visual novels, or you like Don't Nod, I mean, dude, check it out. Like, for sure. So good.
Check it out.
All
Super
right.
cool.
Super cool. All right, we're done with the main content of the show. We're going to bounce in a second. A couple things just really quickly before we go. Carlos, anything?
Just a slightly, I don't know, in quotes, controversial thing. So last episode, we talked about Black Mirror and both of us being frustrated with that series. The main frustration we had, or at least I'll say for myself, is, the darkness that each episode seems to take, which is lots of times similar to, for me, with Game of Thrones. You have like, what's the worst thing that could happen in this scenario? Well, that's what's going to happen.
And that's what happens.
Yeah. Like, oh, wait, the face could be destroyed by a hammer? Okay, cool. That's what's going to happen then. He won't miss. He'll hit him and kill him and it'll be over. And it'll be really gross because that's what Game of Thrones is. Anyways. So this has similarities where every once in a while, I'd watch an episode and be like, well, that felt like a new Twilight Zone, which Twilight Zone is one of my favorite things of all time. And I was like, that's pretty cool. And it didn't go totally dark. But most times it did. Most times it had a really bad ending. And then every once in a while there'd be one that was like, oh, that's kind of either a mixed ending or kind of a okay happy ending. I don't think they've ever had happy, but something.
Yeah.
So anyways, I jump back in because I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. I need to try because I'm not, just like you said earlier in the podcast, I'm about trying things anyhow. And then if it bites me in the ass, then I'll know. But I got to try because there's other writers, there's other directors, right? It's not the same people every single time.
Yeah.
So the first one, which they're very smart, the first episode, if you go in order on the new season, is called Joan is Awful. And it's, okay, I don't say it's fucking good, but it's very, very good. And it doesn't have a sad ending. It has a semi not great ending, but it's also it fits the whole what you just watched.
Okay.
And so nothing people aren't just in agony, dying or something or super sad. And I don't want to talk about it at all because I think people should watch that, even if you don't watch the rest of the season. It's interesting about, and this is the premise, it's like a woman comes home after you learn about her life and how she's kind of not mean, but can be mean-spirited and kind of thinking about herself only. And then she comes home and she turns on Netflix, which in this world is called Streamberry.
Streamberry.
Yeah. And they turn it on and her life is on Netflix, as a show.
Oh, weird. Okay.
And it gets really weird after that. And it's dark. And at times you're like, oh, man, here's the suffering they do. She's got to deal with some shit from that. But it turns it on its head and it gets a really interesting place at the end. And I think it's just really smart writing. So that's that. Then I decided to just watch a couple others. I'm like, maybe this is gonna, they're gonna do it. Second one I watched was a sci-fi one about astronauts. Immediately, in like 15 minutes, they turned it into a home invasion thing.
What?
Yeah, home invasion with like these guys who were just gonna cause problems, and they were like, spoiler, they cut up like there's a robot, and they like just start cutting up the robot, like laughing at the blood coming out of it. I'm like, what are you doing? It was about astronauts. Turn it off. Next one, I finished the thing, but I almost wish I didn't, because it's this like slow mystery, and at the end, spoiler, it's just super fucking sad.
No,
and I was like, and he's like literally crying, like tears are coming out of his eyes, and then it goes to credits, and I'm like, why did I watch that?
Jesus,
that's the ending. He's super sad. By the way, inventive much? The ending. It's just super sad.
Yeah,
he's just crying.
Common theme there. Yeah.
So the common theme is there. I don't know if it's for every episode, because there's only like 5 or 6, right? But I gotta say, you know, that's the thing that seems to come back every time. I mean, what a fantastical idea! Which is 2 astronauts in this one episode have robot bodies back on Earth that they can control, right? So when they go to sleep in the space station, they wake up in the robot bodies at home.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
That's super smart. That's a Twilight Zone episode. The minute they get that established, all of a sudden burglars come in, and they want to ruin that guy's life, and they want to hostage the wife and hostage the kids.
Oh, dude, this is giving me anxiety just hearing about this.
And chop up the robot. That's what they fucking started with. This is what's wrong. That's what's wrong with the series. That kind of mentality. Now, other people might enjoy that, I guess, and some people like heads getting smashed in Game of Thrones. If you do, then you're probably fine, but I can't do that, man.
Yeah, you've already convinced me again to not give this series another shot. So.
I know, but what sucks is that Joan is Awful is very good. It's like very good, and it's like that's not like the rest of them.
No, maybe everybody has a one-off, I guess. So
yeah,
there you go. All right.
Anyways, that's all. I have nothing else.
All right. I meant to say this in the opening housekeeping, but I forgot. One thing that I find super irritating about games, and I'm sure that you probably agree, is like you're supposed to find an item, right? Like maybe, like say there's an item you need to get, and you think you know where it is, you go find it, it's not there, but then you talk to somebody, and they're like, oh yeah, it's over there, and you go back and it's there once after you talk to the person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the item doesn't exist until you have a conversation, but if you look in the room, it's not there, you talk to somebody, it is there. I hate that. I fucking hate that. I bring this up because it happened to me in Sekiro. I got stuck and I had to look at FAQ. I was exploring and I needed this one item, and I got to the place where it was supposed to be. There was nothing there, and I'm like, that's weird. This is a dead end. It's strange that there's nothing here. And I went on with my life, and then I got stuck. I had to look at FAQ, and it's like, yeah, go back to this thing. And I'm like, I was here. I was already here. The thing should have been here, but I didn't have the conversation yet. And the conversation is what triggered the item to be there, which is bullshit.
Yeah.
Bullshit. If I should have just found it, and I would have had it because I naturally found it, and then I had to go back and whatever. Anyway, whatever. Fuck that. Don't do that, game developers. If you're gonna put a thing, make it be there. Don't make it be there until somebody make it be there. Just make it be there. Anyway, watched Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull again against my will. My son, who is 14, is in that teenage phase, which is so amazing, where he must contradict me on everything that I say, no matter what it is. I could say the sky is blue, and he'd be like, yeah, only sorta. Or I'd be like, oh man, ice cream is delicious. He'd be like, yeah, it's gross. Like it, even dumb shit, dude, like really dumb shit that he would contradict me on. And so we were talking about Indiana Jones because he saw them, he saw a couple of them when he was younger, before he hit this phase. And then he was asking me about this one because he saw it on Disney Plus. I'm like, oh, that one sucks. So of course, what does he do? Oh, I got to watch it. Dad said it sucked. I'm going to watch it. I'm going to prove him wrong. So he starts watching. He's like, this movie's great. I love this movie. This movie's like the best one. And I'm like, man, you're rotten, kid. You're so rotten. We had to watch it. I watched it with him because I wanted to, give it a fair shake. I wanted to convince myself, was it really as bad as I remembered it being? Yes, it was. It sure was. It is a stinker of a movie. I do not like it. It is the worst of the trilogy, worst of the quadrilogy. Although there's a 5th one coming out, so who knows. But just irritating that he has to take that tack. And so if you're out there, if you're the parent of a teen, you probably know just what I'm talking about. If you were not the parent of a teen, then be scared because that is coming. And it's
on the way.
Like, oh, fuck, dude. Like, even it could be anything, dude. And he just takes the opposite position. I realize it's like a developmental step, part of individuation. It's a necessary thing for growth. But boy, is that irritating. Anyway, Started watching Gargoyles. Have you seen Gargoyles?
We
talked about it
last episode.
All right, skip it. Still watching it. Still good.
Okay.
And I talked about Deadlock already, right? Did I talk about that?
Maybe not.
Deadlock, the lesbian detectives in New Zealand.
No, I don't think you did.
Oh, I didn't. Okay, good. Okay, it's hard to tell. Like I get confused sometimes, Carlos.
Do you? It's called old age.
It is called old age. Deadlock, Deadloch, is on. I want to say it's Amazon Prime. Probably
because I see
Prime.
it pop up all the time on Amazon. Yeah.
It's great. It's great. It is an import TV show. I don't know if it's from Australia or from New Zealand. Probably Australia, I'm guessing. But it's about. It's about lesbians in New Zealand is what it's about.
Right.
It's a comedy where somebody gets killed in this small town in New Zealand. It's called Deadlock. And the detective is a lesbian, but she wants to kind of take a back seat because her wife is like, you're working too much. I need you to be home with me. I want a relationship. Don't be married to the job. And so they call in this other detective from the mainland of Australia, I guess. And so she shows up, and it's totally like a night and day situation. One is really kind of like by the book, and one is like a rebel. One is really clean and neat, and one is really sloppy and gross and like whatever. And they hate each other, but they have to work together to solve this crime. But there's also like a lesbian festival happening in the town, so the whole town is like flooded with lesbians, and the town has become known as like this lesbian town. So it's kind of like this really interesting. It's comedy, so they're playing on a lot of like lesbian tropes. I am not a lesbian, as you can probably tell, but I know many of them, and a lot of the jokes that they make, I'm seeing reflected here. I bet if you are a lesbian, you'll find this to be completely hilarious. I am not a lesbian, but I still think it's really funny. I think it's just funny from just like the writing perspective. A lot of the jokes are really funny, and I like the Australian / New Zealand. I'm sorry, Tasmania is what I meant to say. Tasmania.
Okay.
Wow, I just committed some kind of major faux pas there. I apologize. Tasmania is what I meant to say. That area of the world has a pretty funny sense of humor, which I really kind of dig. So I think it's a great show. I really love it. It's really funny. There's going to be 8 episodes total, and I believe there's 5 out already. I thought it was over, which is why I started, because I don't like to wait for episodes, so we're going to wait for the rest of them. But yeah, it's thumbs up, man. It's a good time. It's a lot of laughs. It's really kooky. And it's really interesting, too, because literally no one in that show is what you would think of as like American style attractive. Like these are just like real women with, they look like normal people you'd see. No one's a superstar. No one's a model. And it's just really refreshing to see normal looking people doing shit that normal people would do. And no one's like ripped or fake boobs or, anything like that. They're just like normal people.
Yeah.
Which is really cool.
Well, yeah, there's a lot to be said about just, different content from different parts of the world, just looking in quotes different. I watch a ton of UK stuff, a ton of Australian comedy, so I'm already kind of with that. By the way, there's a cartoon from Australia. I believe it's an Australian cartoon or New Zealand. And it's like the characters, even the cartoon, like, aren't what you would normally think of, right?
Yeah.
Kind of a different like style.
The aesthetics and the attitude is just really different over there. Things fly over there that would never fly over here, and I think that's great. So
yeah.
Anyway, Deadlock is great. Check it out. I'm really enjoying that, and that's all I've got for today.
Yeah, Smiling Friends, by the way, I'm watching, and I think I had a discussion with my friend the other day that I didn't give that a fair shake, and I think it's brilliant. It might be brilliant.
This is the cartoon?
Yeah, the cartoon. It's just like really weird, and if you like a mixture of Adventure Time and Rick and Morty, that's kind of what it is. I don't think it's up your alley at all.
Maybe not. But where are you watching it?
So it's on HBO Max or whatever Max, I guess.
Yeah.
But every time I watch a new episode, I'm like, oh, that's really smart. It's like really, I'm not like laughing out loud, but there's something
you're appreciating
to it.
it.
Yeah, there's something to it. It's called Smiling Friends. Check it out.
All right,
let's do it.
There we go, folks. That is the show. As always, send us your questions and comments. Hit us up, sovideogamespodcast@gmail.com, or hit us up individually. Carlos, where are we directing your traffic this week?
Man, I've been behind on TikTok. If you follow me there, sorry. Life and work. Holy crap. So not
social media takes a lot of effort, man.
Yeah, and it's not even social, though. It's like making comedy takes even more effort than social.
True, very
social,
true.
You're posting something. Comedy, you're like, I don't think I'm funny anymore. That's like my weekly thing. I have a couple in the can. I'm working on them. So yeah, just TikTok is my name, and then also is it my name? Oh, on Instagram. I'm on Instagram. No one really follows me up there, but it's Carl Sorella. Yeah, you do. Carl Sorella IG is on Instagram.
There you go. As for me, I'm on basically every platform, but much like Carlos, I have not had the timer, the energy. So all of my social media has been lagging lately. So sorry about that. If you look to me for fun and perky stuff online, maybe follow somebody else for a little while. I need to recuperate a bit. But I am on every platform. It's my name, BradGallaway. All A's, no O's. And this is going to do it for episode 341. Thank you all so much again for joining us here on the 7 Day Games podcast. And we'll see you next week.
We'll see you next week.